afternoon, wherever you are watching from. I hope you are doing great. Welcome to another session. Today, we are talking about navigating single parenting, and today we are diving, into an amazing topic: how to stay motivated as a single parent. And to be honest with you, as single parenting, first of all, is one of the toughest yet most rewarding jobs that we know. And it is a journey that sometimes it can be hard, very, very tough. But let's be honest, there are days that we can feel exhaustion and loneliness and self-doubt, and it makes it hard, to keep going. So today, Nelly and I, we're going to be talking about how to keep our energy focused, when we are overwhelmed. We're going to be talking about how to find our purpose and joy in every moment, and how to feel self-compassion, and to get that community support that we need. And we're going to be talking about practical ways to refill your emotional cup. So before we start, for people that don't know me, I am Peggy Barre, and I'm the founder of Arise and Thrive Academy. I'm a motivational empowerment coach, and I'm going to pass you to Nelly to introduce herself. Over to you, Nelly.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to yet another session, Navigating Single Parenting. And I won't go over what Peggy has said for the intro. My name is Nelly Kwasuni. I am a social worker, a transformational life coach, and the founder for Clarify That Uniqueness Limited and co-director for Hand in Hand Community CIC. So our main focus is on mental health and emotional well-being. And we know staying motivated has something to do with our mental health or our mental states. So today, get ready for this very important topic that we will talk about. So staying motivated is not only for single parents, because parents who are couples will still go through certain struggles. And some of the tips that we will share today, everyone can benefit from what we will share today. So thank you. If you have any comments, please share so that we can talk about it, because we are here to learn and also to share our experiences so you can learn. Thank you so much, and stay with us.
Yes, absolutely. We are just going to be talking raw. Like we always say, Nelly and I, we just come here and things flow, because mind you or not, we are parents. And Nelly, today I can put my hands up. Today is one of those days that, you know what, if I wasn't coming to talk about motivation to other parents, I would have sat here, just cover my head with blanket, like I've had enough. I've had enough. Because as parents, some days you've got work. You've got to put food on the table. You've got the children. You've got your own personal stress and stuff that are going through. You've got families that are on your neck. Maybe you've got partners, that you need to meet their demands and their needs. The list can be endless. And so sometimes, how can you really stay motivated? And not forgetting that beside being a parent, we have also got our own purpose. We've got our own careers. We've got our own things that we want to achieve. How can we stay motivated as single parents? So that is what we're going to be talking today. And before we even start, just like I was saying, Nelly and I, we were talking about, since we're talking about motivation, maybe it'll be important for, first of all, to define motivation. What is motivation? What is motivation? Before we actually chip in our own individual, understanding of motivation, I'm going to go to what Google says, right? It says motivation is the desire or the reason for acting in a certain way. It is driven by that internal or external factors to achieve a goal. It is a complex psychological force that explains why individuals initiate, continue, or terminate a behavior, and it is crucial for setting and achieving goals. So that is motivation by the definition of Google. But if I were to define motivation as Peggy, what is motivation? We say motivation for me is that, let me put it in a layman's way, is that rope that keeps dragging me even when things are tough. It just keeps dragging me. So that's how I'll put my own motivation, how I define motivation. So Nelly, I don't know, in your own way or your own words, how will you define motivation?
Okay, yeah, thank you for that definition, Peggy. For myself, I will say motivation is that thing within you that keeps pushing you to go forward, no matter how hard things may be. But it's that thing that gets you going. So, in my own layman's term, that's how I'll describe motivation.
Absolutely. So before we do something, I only want, first of all, let me just go back. Before we even want to have children, there must be, or there is something that motivates us, or the desire to have children. Everybody have their own desire or have their reason why they want to have kids. Some people may say, oh, it's just the tradition, you have to get married and then you have to have children. But some people have a particular reason why they want to have children. In a way, that is motivation. Then there we are. We've gotten those children. Now we are parents. Okay. I don't know, Nelly, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I wanted to say we need to have make a difference between motivation and expectations.
Yes.
Because sometimes we think that we have to do something. That already is an expectation that probably our family, our society has placed on us, or we have placed on ourselves. And that is very different from an expectation. Can motivate you to do something if that aligns with your purpose, or an expectation can discourage you because you might not have that drive, that why am I doing that thing? So I just thought it's good to differentiate between expectation and motivation.
That is so true. Absolutely true. Because sometimes, again, expectation can be placed on us by society. You know, they are expecting us to do certain things that when it deep down, we don't want that thing. So what I was trying to say is that as parents, especially like just Nelly said, this topic is not just about single parents. Parents as well sometimes find struggle to have the motivation to keep going, you know. So before we start looking about around what are the practical ways to get motivated, you know, to keep going. First of all, we need to first of all look at what are some of the challenges that first of all sucks that motivation, because there are certain days that we get up and we are on fire, we have energy, you know, I'm going to do this, I'm going to achieve that, I'm going to do this for my children. We're just excited. But then you wake up someday and you feel like you don't even want to get out of bed, you don't even want to talk to somebody. Your children, even maybe they may be knocking on the door to talk to you, say, you know what, I don't want to speak to anybody. And there are days that I have days like that, Nelly, where I just say to, in fact, I just write a note and put it on my door. I say, just leave me alone. I just say, leave me alone. You know,
Yeah.
so there are days like that. So first of all, we need to, I don't know, Nelly, I'm sure you can talk more on this, but I feel that sometimes the reaction that we are facing on those days, first of all, starts from the mind. And then it starts from the mind. It can be overwhelmed. It can be thoughts that are coming, into our minds. Maybe they're negative thoughts, or they're self-blame thoughts, or they're just torturing thoughts that just deplete our energy. So first of all, where does that lack of motivation comes from, first of all, and how can we manage it? How can we deal with it?
Yeah, that's a good question. And unfortunately, it doesn't have just a direct answer. But
Mhm.
a starting point is, like you've said, things begin, or everything begins with a thought. So sometimes what you think about might demotivate you because you might feel that, oh, things are just too much. It could be things that are going on around you. And again, it will relate to what you are thinking about. Sometimes it might just be your body indicating that you need to pay attention to your body. So, like the mornings or the days that you wake up and you are just so sluggish and you don't even feel like getting out of bed, our body always indicates to us. So it's not just one thing that will demotivate us. But the main thing is awareness. We need to spend lots and lots of time to know our body, to be aware of ourselves, who we are. Because if we are aware, or if we have that high level of self-awareness, we will be able to pinpoint where the lack of motivation is coming from, though there's much deeper work to be done around motivation. For instance, if, say, you know that you have one of your bills is coming out tomorrow by direct debit and you don't have that money in your account, it is obvious that that night probably you won't sleep because you'll be thinking, what will happen? Maybe your bank will send you a message that your account doesn't have enough money and things like that. You not only focus on that the lack of money, there will be many other things that will be linked, many other thoughts that will be linked to that that direct debit that is meant to come out the following day. So that's just an example where you will probably that night not sleep. You will be thinking about that, and by the time you wake up in the morning, you will be tired. And then if, say, you wake up in the morning and you've not got a solution, you will just be like, okay, there's no solution. What can happen can happen. And indirectly, you might not be motivated probably to take the children to school because physically you are drained, and that physical tiredness is stemming from mental fatigue. So you see how it is interlinked.
Absolutely.
So sometimes again is we don't even know what we actually want. Because if we figure out what we want and have a plan of how we will accomplish that thing, then that can motivate us. But the deeper motivation again comes from if we don't know why, that's the purpose why we are doing something or our purpose, we will not be motivated, or we can be demotivated. If you know your why, this is very deeper level, and this why is linked to your purpose. That will be a motivation, because if you say you dig deeper into your why and you say your purpose is to help people, just put it in a lay way, to help people, you will wake up in the morning, no matter how bad you feel, you will in your mind's eyes be thinking that, oh, there are people behind me who look up to me, and if I stay in bed, those people will not progress. So then just the thought of that will get you out of that bed to go and do what you are meant to do. And you will have some like mental energy because you are focused on that thing that you are meant to do. And that's something that we say is the motivation, because that is what you want to do. There'll always be distractions, but when you focus on what you need to do, the reminder there is the motivation that always gets you to do that thing.
Absolutely. That's so true, Nelly. And when you were talking, what I'm looking at, thinking, I was thinking like, whatever thing we want to get that motivation for, whether it is we want motivation, because to be motivated as a single parent, what is it for? Do you want to be motivated to raise up your children in the right way, or finding that motivation to pursue your career, or finding that motivation to look after yourself, or finding that motivation to, so it's more like we have is motivation is like an umbrella where we need it to be able to achieve the different things or pursue and achieve the different things that we want. So just like you're saying that purpose is one of the things. So purpose is just that one thing in our life as parents, as single or parents, that we want motivation to act, we want to get motivation to achieve that purpose. Because like we've said in a previous video, I always say, Nelly, for me, my purpose is like an anchor. My purpose saves different, it helps me in different aspects. But I don't only have purpose, my purpose in terms of purpose to save humanity. I also have a purpose towards my children. I have a purpose towards my family. I have a purpose towards my own self. Because if I want to look after myself, I need to be intentional. I need to be purposeful. That, you know what, the purpose for looking after me is to maybe save, if to stay healthy, so that I can be able to save, the thing that is greater than me. Because purpose is about that ultimate purpose is about saving that thing that is greater than us, whether saving our community, saving whichever thing. But I cannot do that without being healthy. I cannot do that without looking after myself. I cannot do that without looking after my children. Because if I have children who are unsettled at home and their mental health and everything is not fine with them, I'm not going to be focused to be able to actually achieve that purpose, that greater purpose that I want to achieve. So when we talk, so staying motivated for me, staying motivated is staying motivated for me to achieve these different aspects of my life. And just like you say, there are some days that you get up, Nelly, you're overwhelmed mentally. And it might just begin with that thought. Maybe somebody have said something that have triggered something that has happened to it happens to me most of the time, that somebody will say something that will trigger a certain emotion or a certain, I would think about something that happened. Maybe that thing wasn't negative, that wasn't too good. And if I'm not in the right state of mind, those are one of the days that I can just lose interest to do anything. And those are the days that I can, if I'm not careful, I can just stay home, stay in bed and don't do anything. But like you say, the mindset is very, very important. When that thought comes in, how do you manage it there and then before it spirals to keep you hostage? If you get what I mean, Nelly, when that thought come in, how do we first of all just manage it to not let it take control of us?
Okay. Thanks for sharing that, Peggy. Yeah, so starting point is make it a habit to be journaling, to be writing. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I give my clients mood journal. So they have they track their moods, say for a week. Or if something happens, you spend some time to reflect. What were you thinking about before? What were you thinking during and after? So if you make it a habit to be writing a mood journal, say in the morning, if you wake up in the morning, how were you feeling in the morning when you woke up? What did you do prior to going to bed? When you woke up, so you do that morning, afternoon, evening. You do that over a week, for example. When you track it, you might realize that the days that you don't feel motivated, it might stem from the night before where you didn't have enough sleep, because most of the times we ignore sleep, but sleep plays a vital part in our lives. So when you track that, if you track your mood, you will easily identify where that demotivation is coming from. So that's just one strategy that we can use to keep journaling about our mood and knowing what is, because in a way it will help with self-awareness. and which is linked to self-care, like you talked about self-care. If you track your mood for the week and you realize that, oh, you associate one behavior or one feeling with another. I've talked about sleep. Let's say you realize that when you don't sleep well, you become very moody, you become very agitated, you just get angry. Then you can link that behavior to the lack of sleep, because you have deprived yourself of the rest. So then you just become very agitated. So then from there, you will need to put an action that what do you need to do so you sleep well, or you have enough sleep. So that's already an aspect of around self-care that you put an action there.
That is so true. That is so true. So we're looking some of the challenges. First of all, common challenges that demotivate us as parents. So like Nelly, you've just talked about emotional fatigue, which is a huge one, because sometimes we are just like we go like hamster on hamster wheel, where we just keep going day by day. I will, keep pushing things, doing things, come back, no rest, no food, just on the go. And when it hits us, we can be shocked that sometimes it would take us 10 steps backward. We may be going forward, and then when we hit that rock, it takes us 10 steps backward. And sometimes there's some people that they'll find it difficult to bounce back. There's some people that they will stay on that level for a long while before they regain themselves. So that is why it's very important for us not to hit that rock, or if we hit that rock, we know how we can easily bounce back, which is very important. And that is what Nelly have just shared. And we talk about feeling unsupported. Nelly, what do you have to say about feeling unsupported? Because I feel that that's one challenge that can get us demotivated or get us demoralize us as parents, especially when we feel that we're struggling on our own and we don't have anyone to support us, and especially maybe the dads, your kids' dads or their kids' mom are there, but they're not giving you the support that you need. How can that affect your motivation, Nelly? Can you hear
Yeah,
me, Nelly?
that's a very deep one, because we need support. Yeah, we need support, but then sometimes we actually need, because looking at, like in our community, the Afro-Caribbean community, there's already a bad name given to single parents, whether you are a male or a female, a mom or a dad. There's already like stigmatized that is because you want to, whatever label they give you, being a single parent, and they look down on you. So imagine you are struggling and you even have the courage to ask for help, and you feel rejected, like in my case. How then will you have the courage to seek for further support?
Yeah.
And that, like you've said, Peggy, really demoralizes you, because you will internalize that and you'll just feel that, well, because you are the body here, you don't even want to ask for support from anyone. And you will just want to manage with your children on your own, because sometimes, okay, I will take like cases that I've heard about. If the children are with the mother, and okay, the children are with the mother, it is obvious that even if the mother was working, she would probably reduce her working time to fit in with accommodating the children, like taking the children to school appointments and all whatnot. So because she is down to part-time, it is obvious that she will not have the finances to meet up with the demands, the household demands. And imagine they don't get support from the dad. How will they manage? Who will they ask for support from? So then they are just stuck in that cycle where they know they are struggling. They have to meet the needs of their children, but they don't know where to go to for help. And again, there's an aspect of, I don't want to be dependent on people, because people feel much better when they are independent. So then asking for support can be very, very tricky. And that pushes some single parents to go do like odd jobs because they want to meet the needs of the family.
Yeah.
In that case, what I'll say is there is support out there. It's for us. Sometimes we don't want to ask for help from those who are not within our community first because of pride. But what I say is, what would happen if I go and ask for help and get the help to better my situation? Or I sit, don't ask for help, and my situation gets worse. For me,
Yeah.
I will choose the first, to go ask for help from outside of my community and get the help, because when I get the help, it's for me and particularly my children, and they are my responsibility. So sometimes it's for us to ignore our immediate community if we know that they are not being supportive, or they are the ones calling us the names and talking bad about us, and we just feel that going to them is not going to happen, and just maybe thinking about it is like, oh no, just demoralizing you. So go out
Yeah.
there and ask for support. It's better to get the support for you to help yourself and to help your children.
Absolutely. That is so
I
true.
don't know
That's
if
so
I
true.
answered that correctly.
Yes, you did. You did answer it, because feeling that feeling of not being supported can actually demoralize us, and it can push us the wrong way. It can instead, and this is the thing, Nelly, if we dwell on it for too long, it instead demoralizes more than more. So it's about saying, you know what, we cannot force somebody to support us if they don't want to. It takes
Yeah.
two to tango. Yes, those children were brought into this world by two people. If one of those person or one person decides that I don't want to be part of your life or the life of those children, the more you force them, except that you want to go through the legal way where the pressure is taken off you. But I've seen cases where the individual is trying to put pressure on the other person to support, but that support is not coming. And every day your expectations are being quashed. Because for me, one of the things that I hate the most is for me to expect something and then that thing is not given, or that expectation is not met. I would rather say, you know what, I don't expect anything from you. If that thing come, let it come at a bonus. Let it just come at an addition. Because for me, Nelly, that is the way I preserve my own internal peace. And that is a way that I try to stay motivated in that parenting journey, especially in that singlehood parenting journey. I do that so that I can stay motivated. Because if I am expecting somebody, take for example, maybe I've got my bill to pay, and if A promised that they were going to contribute something towards that bill, and the day for me paying that bill, they don't send that money, what is going to happen? I'm going to be stressed. And if I'm stressed, that's how it affects my day. It doesn't just affect me, it affects those around me. And who are the ones around me? They are those children. So for me, I always say I would rather not depend on anybody. I would rather try on my own. And if you want to give me something, let it come as a bonus. In that way, it helps me to guard my peace. And that is one of the ways that I use it to stay motivated. And because I know that I am the one struggling, or that I'm the one to make sure that I meet the needs of my kids, or meet what they need, or meet my own needs, I need to stay motivated to make sure I achieve that need. So yeah, that is so important. So I think one of the other thing that challenges that we face is the financial
I
and
think
time
just
pressure.
just before you
Yeah,
continue,
yeah,
just before you go to the other point, while we are on finances, I would say, I'm sure previously I've said this before, like in a lot of the cases that I've worked on, there's especially within the Afro-Caribbean communities, I don't know, there's the misconception that the government is giving loads and loads of money to the mothers, majority, who are the ones who have the children, and as fathers, they don't need to pay or give any support towards the child upbringing, which to me, I'm thinking, so anyway, that's a massive misconception, because if you have a child, how much is being given? How much is being spent on the child? How much is, so there's just a lot. So anyone watching me, if you want to come at me, because it's a fact. If you have a child, take responsibility for that child. Don't say the government is taking care of that child, or is giving financial support for that child. How much is it? Is that how you want to qualify your child? But anyway, I would say, just in line with that, there are just so many things that you can do. And I'll share a personal example, a personal experience. Like, there was a time I was struggling to put food on the table for my children. Sometimes I went without eating. And
yeah,
like they say, things happen at the right time. I met a friend who was working with the NHS, and with the NHS there was an initiative here in Manchester where NHS staff, they have a card and they buy food on reduced prices. And I benefited from that for a while, because, okay, let me say, for example, like yogurt, like this top of yogurt that are there like 6 in the shops, it will be like £1.80 or so. But in that shop, it will be like 15p.
wow,
That's where I was shopping for my
wow,
children. And it took off for such a long time, because with the little money I had, if I go with my friend, because she had the NHS, she was working with the NHS, we go shopping. I know that I'll have my house full of food that will last me for a while. And I'm not ashamed to say that, because
yeah,
it's a practical thing. I did not steal it.
yeah,
That initiative is there for a reason, because people are struggling. Also, grants that you can apply for grants if you are struggling.
yeah,
There are just many different resources. You can, previously authority talked about exploring uh, contracted hours or reduced hours. You can also work on your budget. Like, if you have certain direct debit or certain payments that you don't need to, you can suspend them at that time. Contact the providers and say, I want to terminate this contract and things like that, because it will help you to save. No matter how small that amount is, you will take it and use it for something else. I just thought I'd add that one there.
that is so true, Nelly. I think finances is the key. And before we even, there's one thing that, there's this thing called stigma. I've seen, especially within the Black Afro-Caribbean, community, there's this thing called stigma. A stigma where you see somebody dying of hunger, but refusing to accept support, if you get what I mean. They're refusing to accept support, but yet they're struggling because they feel that, what are people going to say? They cannot see themselves reducing themselves to the point where they are they classify, they say, no, people are going to see me as begging. No, you're not begging. You're not begging. You're in a community where people, they've provided resources to help parents who are struggling. Nobody goes into certain circumstances by default. We don't just get up one day and willfully say, you know what, I'm going to be struggling with food, or I'm going to be struggling financially.
Yeah.
No, circumstances will push us into certain situation. But it is about, when we're in that situation, how do we deal with it in such a way that we come out on the other end brave, and we come out on the other end healthy. So this is why, like you said, we don't feel ashamed. There was a time in my life that nearly I went to food bank. Yeah, I went to food bank because I had to. There's sometimes where you don't even have the sufficient money. And talking about this thing that some people say, oh, the government is giving you, like you say, how much is government giving you? The money that government is giving you, are you going to pay your house rent? Are you going to buy food for the kids? Are you going to buy school uniforms or school shoes or extracurricular activities for those children? Are you going to use that to pay for their bus pass to go to school? Are you going to use that to pay for their school meals? Because, hello, they're not giving school meals for free. There's certain that you have to pay for it. So all of these things, even if the government was giving you how much, would that be sufficient? No. So again, these are misconceptions that most people have it, but they don't know the reality. So another thing that we want to talk about that was on my point, or on my list, is comparison and guilt. Comparison and guilt is one of the things that kills motivation, especially among parents and single parents, where you're comparing your life with, maybe from the way you used to be before, or you're comparing yourself with the friends or the people that you hang out with. You're comparing yourself with the other person you want. So Nelly, what do you say about comparison? Because you know what, I have a lot to talk about it. Let me give you a point to talk about, like, when it comes to comparison, how comparison kills our motivation. What do you have to say?
You know, comparison is common now. Like, go on social media, you hear about comparison. Just thinking about it, where does comparison come from? Comparison comes from a place of lack. You are comparing with someone because you don't have. So already you feel that you are not enough.
Yeah.
And if you start comparing with someone and you get to that point where you cannot reach where that person is, you feel that you have been defeated. But again, who is defeating who? You are defeating yourself, because you were comparing with someone who was just getting on their lives. And in the African community, there's unnecessary comparison. You want like them. You want through. You want to be like them. You start comparing. It's because from a place on ourselves. Let's start working on ourselves to get to where we can be. compare yourself with who you were yesterday.
I think Nelly, your line is breaking. It keeps freezing. I'm not sure why. So yeah.
Sorry, my internet something
Yeah, I
again.
think the internet, there's some glitches there. It keeps freezing. Anyway, why I'm waiting for Nelly, there's one thing that can kill our motivation as single parents, and as like Nelly was saying, it's
I'm back.
comparison.
Sorry.
Okay, great. So yes, I was just saying, adding on to what you said, that comparison. I always say the only person that I can compare myself with is me, myself. Like, you know what? Every single day, how can I make myself better? It's not about how can I be like so and so. Yes, I know that there are people that we call them role models, that we can look up to and aspire to want to be like them, but let us not do that and then put pressure on ourselves in such a way that it can instead, destabilize us as parents, or as single parents. Because if we want to look at how others are, and we don't have the capability or the ability or the resources at that moment to meet
Yeah,
that need
just
to be
looking at
like that
someone
person.
who can you is different.
Yeah, Nelly, are you talking?
I was saying that looking up to someone who inspires you is different, because
Yes.
you are not comparing or competing with that person. They
Yes.
are like inspiring you. You want to be like them, but
Yes.
you are not. You see them, it says that thing within you that you need to work hard, which is very different from the kind of comparison, because the kind of comparison that I say is going on within the African community is like, oh, you've worn that dress, I'll wear the dress, you've put on that shoe, I'll put on that shoe. To me, it's because you feel that you are not enough. So that is very different from looking up to someone who inspires you to grow.
Yeah.
So it could still be comparison, but there are two different.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And one thing that I just want to mention is that we need to acknowledge that feeling tired or motivated, does not mean failure, right? There are days that we get up and we don't feel motivated to do something. That doesn't mean we are failures, so it just means that we are human. And we need to another aspect of the comparison is guilt. Because when we start to compare, we start feeling guilty that we cannot be like the other person. We start feeling guilty that, hey, look, maybe I cannot afford, I cannot buy my children what the other person has bought for their kids. We start to feel guilty about ourselves, that looking at ourselves, feeling like we are failures when we are not. So feeling unmotivated, when we start to compare, that guilt, that feeling of guilt coming, that feeling of being a failure comes in, and it further demotivates us. Those are the days that you wake up, you feel like, you know what, there's no point for me even wanting to do this thing. So it is very important, just like Nelly say, find somebody who can inspire you, especially maybe somebody who is going through the challenges that you are going through as a parent, but yet they're keeping their head high above the water. Those are people that, you know what, you can look up to them to inspire you every day to keep going through that tough journey. But those that comes by you, which they're only measuring you at the level where you are at that moment, those are the people that you don't even want them near you. And for you to be motivated and keep going as a parent, you need to actually mind the type of network, type of people you hang out with. Who are the people you talk to? Who are the people you hang out with? You know, those people are going to either keep you going forward or keep you going backward or help you to stay stagnant. So that is very important to make sure you shift, actually reshuffle your relationship network if you want to stay motivated as a parent. So that is another thing. So I don't know, Nelly, whether you wanted to say something there before we now go to look at some practical motivational steps or boosters to keep motivated.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. I think, like, personally, I mean, when I see someone who is doing or has something that I admire, I have taken upon myself to go talk to that person. I'll say, excuse me, what you've said, what you've done, I really like it. How did you do that? How did you get that? Majority of the time, they won't tell me everything, but just me talking to them, first of all, it makes them know that whatever they've done has been acknowledged by someone. And to me, yes, I know, oh yeah, I was comparing with this person, but it's not coming from a negative aspect. It's coming from a positive aspect from my side, because sometimes when we compare, there are aspects of jealousy. And if I admire someone that coming from a place of jealousy, it will be difficult for me to go and talk to them about the thing that I am admiring in them. So those are some of the elements in comparison, because is it a good comparison or is it a bad comparison? But most of the time it's bad comparison. So if you start making it a habit that you take out the negative aspect that you feel within you, that you are coming from place of lack, when you see someone who has done something that you like or who has something that you like, instead of comparing, go to them and say, I really like this. How did you do that? Or how did you get that? That one, you're in yourself, you will feel there's this fresh air that will come over you, that you feel, yes, you've not accomplished that same thing, but you know that you are not feeling jealous.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's just me, but that's an experience. That is what I do. And I just feel that experience. I don't know if I'm just like,
yeah. And the thing is that if you've got a mindset of growth, for me, I've got a mindset, a growth mindset. So I've got a growth mindset. So I don't know what jealousy feels. I don't know how jealousy feels. I don't even know, because for me, when I see somebody, like usually say, if I see something good or positive in somebody, I just want to learn from them. You know, it's about learning. I want to learn from them. And most of the time, that person may also want something to benefit from me. Not everybody has got it all, Nelly. There's sometimes that we may look at somebody and we're looking at this person like, oh my God, I admire this person so much. This person has got this and got and that and that and that. But don't forget that you may also have a tiny quality that that person is missing and that you can give that person. So that's how I always see it. I always see, like, you know what? Yes, even though I can look at you and learn something from you, I think I can give you something. I think you can benefit something from me as well. You know, so when we do things that way, I think it kills that negative jealousy, if you talk about that. Because for me, it's all about how do we grow? How can I help you? How can you help me? That's just my mindset, you know. So honestly, we just have to get to a point where it is about how do we improve ourselves and keep going, not just for our sake, but for the sake of our kids as well. So I think if we want to talk about some practical, actionable ways or practical ways that we can stay motivated, I think one of the point is to try and break the big task into small, doable steps. Because trust me, as parents, there are some days that if you look at my diary, I think I always say to my kids that, you know, somebody, if you look at my diary in a day, I'm sure somebody can say, you know what, I'm not even going to start. So again, it's about all the goals, all that massive goal that we want to achieve. How can we break it down into small, actionable, achievable steps? And how can we, there's a mantra that I use every day, taking one day at a time. When I want to feel overwhelmed as a parent, one thing I always say to myself, I'll like take a deep breath. I'll tell myself, I say, Peggy, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. And then I'll say, okay, today is another day. Take it one step at a time. Take it one day at a time. And when I say that to myself, it calms me down and it helps me to stay focused, you know. So for me, that first point is about breaking that task down, because if we want to try and lump everything and say we're going to achieve everything, no, we're going to feel overwhelmed and we're going to break down. So Nelly, is there anything you want to add on that point?
Yeah, you've talked of what you say to yourself. Yeah, affirmations. Yes, affirmations are really, really good. I know we've talked about affirmations in the past, and you've just talked about what you tell yourself. That is affirmation. Design any affirmation that suits you, because it is your personal thing on the affirmation, and say to yourself, like, don't craft an affirmation when you are struggling. Do that when you are in your best calm self, and say, you will be saying this, like, I am enough. That is what I like to say to myself, and I say it a lot of the times. I say I am enough, because there were many years in my life where I felt like I was not enough and I was never going to be enough. But then when I realized that I was enough, that stood out for me. And for so many years, I have been doing that. So craft yours, because for me, when there's something that I'm struggling with, and I just say, Nelly, you are enough. I say that to myself, and it's like that energy comes gradually. And that's, for me, that is something that motivates me. Just to add on what you've said, Peggy, I want to say we need to redefine success, because sometimes what demotivates us is we have we craft something that we want to design, or our goals. We set a goal that we want to achieve, and we like put a plan. That is how we are going, that's what we are going to, the actions we are going to take to achieve that particular goal. And then if that doesn't happen, which a lot of the times it doesn't happen, we need to redefine what success is. Because as human beings, we have lost our path by focusing on the goal. Whereas we need to focus on the process, because it is the process that we need to get involved in. Because when we have those experiences within the process, it makes life very different from when you just have the results. So redefine success. What does success look like to you? How will you know that you have achieved success? Because sometimes you put a bar for success, and then you go past the bar, and then you forget that your success, or your definition of success, had already passed it. So you need to redefine what success is. Or on the other hand, you can be very far off from the bar that you put for success, and you might be doing something else. So you always need to bring yourself back. What do you want to achieve? What do you need to do? So it's not something that you just do it and then that, oh, I'll accomplish it when I have done that. So it's for you to redefine what does success look like to you. And then if you have a plan and it doesn't go the way you want, you are the one who set it in the first place. You can as well change it, because when you put a plan and you are working towards that plan and it's not going anywhere, that demotivates you. When you redefine what that plan is, you will have some more energy to keep going, and that's when you'll feel more motivated.
Yeah, absolutely. And even when, let me just add on that wonderful point that Nelly have said, even if you want to redefine it, you redefine your the plan again or rewrite the plan again, don't feel that you failed. Don't feel that you failed, because in life sometimes if plan A doesn't work, you can go to plan B, plan C, plan D, or even come back again and try plan A. That doesn't make you a failure. It doesn't make you a failure, because sometimes as parents, when we try one thing and maybe it's not working, we just like start telling ourselves, oh no, I cannot achieve this and this. And that's where the negative self-talk start coming in. And once you start having that negative self-talk, it demoralizes you, it demotivates you to want to proceed. So another thing that we need to do to help us to stay motivated as parents, or especially as single parents, is to create our daily wins and celebrate progress, not perfection. My mentor always tells me that perfection is nonsense, because when I started working with her, she noticed that I was a perfectionist. I'm the type of that want things to be, in a particular way, specific way. And up to today, even I was discussing the other day with somebody. I was saying that one of my weakness as an entrepreneur is that of a perfectionism, because even that perfectionism makes you you don't even want to delegate tasks, because you feel like people are not going to do it better, do it like you. So sometimes we need to dish perfection. There's nothing as perfection. We just need to make sure we're doing our best. We're doing our best to make sure that we achieve whatever goal that we want to achieve. So it's about creating daily wins. And when we create that daily wins, we celebrate it. Because like Nelly said, if we don't create daily wins, sometimes we can even have a win and we'll not realize that we've won. And we just keep going and going and going. No, if you set your goal that day, that today I was just going to maybe walk, say, 500 steps. If you achieve that goal for yourself, for your personal health, or your well-being, you achieve that 500 steps, come back and give yourself a pat on the back. Celebrate that win. If you set a goal that today I am going to be positive in all my conversation, whether with my children, I'm going to be kind, and if you achieve that goal that day, celebrate yourself, celebrate that win. That is what keeps you motivated. And the more micro wins that you celebrate, the more micro wins that you would want to achieve. So I don't know, Nelly, do you want to add something on that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Nelly, are you getting me? Do you want to add anything on that, Nelly?
Yeah, we need to be celebrating whatever achievement, no matter how small it is, because we are the ones who downgrade our achievements by saying that, oh, this is small, that is big. Yeah, every achievement needs celebration. Like I say, even for myself, I practice it. If something that is small, or if I accomplish anything, no matter how small it is, I dance as if it's my birthday. Anything. So we need to start practicing that, to be celebrating every single win. Let's not downgrade it, because you put in the effort. And like that, when you celebrate your wins, that's a motivation, because you would want to accomplish something else. So then you celebrate, and that cycle of you motivating yourself will just continue.
Yeah. Yeah. And one thing that I just want to add is that when celebrating your win as a parent, please do not keep your children out of it. Involve your children. Tell your children what you've achieved. No matter how small it is, let them celebrate with you. Because in that way, you people, you kind of keep yourself as accountability partners. And make it a habit that when your children also have little wins or micro wins, you as a parent need to celebrate them. Tell them, well done. Give them a pat on the back. Buy something, whether it's just a small chocolate or something, just to motivate them. In that way, you're boosting them and making them want to achieve more. And then on your own part, they will be asking you, oh mom, what do we have? They're going to be they're going to be your cheerleaders as well. Those days that you're down and feeling demotivated, they are going to motivate you. They're going to remind you of the micro wins. They're going to remind you of the previous wins. And they're going to remind you that, hey mom, remember that we are looking forward to celebrating with you. In that way, you're going to get up and want to go achieve that thing because you want to celebrate with them. So please do not keep your children out when celebrating those micro wins. So another step, that thing that we want to talk about, is how to build a support system. Whether your support system, I know we've talked about it before, how one thing to keep you to stay motivated is how to build a positive support network. You need to build a network of confident boosters, of cheerleaders, people who are not judgmental, people who will correct you with love. They're not going to only criticize you. They're not going to only be pointing you with the wrong fingers, but somebody that is going to say, hey, sister, maybe you should have done it this way, but without actually criticizing you and demoralizing you. So Nelly, I don't know whether you want to add a little bit on that. I know you've already, you did talk about it, but I don't know whether you wanted to add something on that one before we proceed.
Yeah, I think for the building supporting a good support system, we've talked about that. I think we talked about that all this on all the sessions that we have. So it's to look at the people that you feel can support you, can listen to you, because when we talk of support, it's not that people will always give you a helping hand. Sometimes A might be that person who will be there to listen to you. That's already a support. Another one might be someone who will want to give you practical support. So it's for you to look who can offer what. But first of all, you need to identify what kind of support you need, because sometimes we just say we need support. And when you're asked what kind of help or support do you need, anything, that means nothing. You have to know what areas you are struggling with and what kind of support you need, because you might just say you need help and someone might bring the help to you when probably it's another problem. So you need to be very mindful of that, and don't be ashamed or afraid to ask for help when you are struggling. Say you are struggling, you need help.
Yeah, absolutely. So another point that I have on my list, which is one last but not the least point, is prioritize self-care and without guilt. Remember that we cannot give an empty cup. And if our cup is not full, it demotivates us. We don't get energy. So we need to make sure we take care of ourselves first. This is the point where there are times that we feel like having self-care is being selfish. No. Self-care is not selfishness. Because if we don't take care of ourselves, how can we get up to do the things that we're going to do? How can we even get up to meet the needs for our children? We can't. So we need to make sure we eat healthy. When you talk about health and self-care, what does self-care? Self-care is a holistic thing. Whether your mind, you make sure you look after your mental health. Make sure you watch the type of thoughts that you think. Nelly have talked about practice a positive affirmation. What are some of the affirmation that you want to be saying to yourself every day? That is you looking after your mental health. Try to avoid negative circle of people that are going to talk you down. Trying to watch be mindful of the type of things that you watch, even on social media. What are the type of news or the type of links and the channels that you follow? Are they motivating you, or are they sucking a lot mentally from you? So that is part of your self-care. What are the type of things that you eat? Remember that sometimes as parents, we care a lot for our children without actually even caring for our own self, what we eat. We'll make sure we prepare them these nice meals, and then we don't even, what is it that we want, that our body wants, depending on our age? Sometimes as we aging, are we taking our supplement? Talking about food supplement, I need to beat myself because are we taking like multivitamins? Are we looking after ourselves? Are we exercising? Are we sleeping well? Are we drinking well? These are all self-care that we need to take care of ourselves. What about empowering ourselves? Are we learning? Are we learning? Because when your self-growth stops, for me, I've noticed that whenever I stop to develop myself or to learn, my body starts to feel a type. And that feeling is not usually a good one. So let me not say much. Nelly, I know this is your friend. Nelly, do you have some stuff to add on there? Nelly?
I get you. I lost you there for a bit. I know you were talking of the food supplements, which, I mean, to me, food supplements is great. That's part of self-care, isn't it? Especially in this part of the world that we are living in. We don't have enough sunshine, and our bodies, the melanin, I mean, us like this, we need supplements to keep us going, because if not, we will struggle. So for me, I try as much as possible to put on top of to get my supplements, and I've made it, and I will say I'm proud. I'm respecting that, because I take my supplements when I'm meant to take them, because like taking medication, I don't like taking medication. So I know if I take my supplements, I will not be taking medication. So for quite a while now, I've only been on food supplements. I'm not taking any medication. So I have to be on top of it. And that's part of self-care. So you too need to be doing that.
I really, really need to. My problem is the consistency. I'll start it and stop it, start and stop. But touch wood, I need to be consistent. So yeah, so we need to, self-care is about making sure we look after ourselves, because if we don't look after ourselves and our cup is full, we cannot give from an empty cup. We need to energize ourselves. How do we want people to treat us? Are we treating them good? Are we treating those people nicely as well? Because we cannot give what we don't have, and we cannot expect from people what we cannot give them. If you want people to talk to you nicely, ask yourself, are you talking to yourself nicely? Or do you keep criticizing yourself and hammering yourself, and all of that? No, we need to make sure we look after ourselves.
Yeah.
Because in that way, it keeps us motivated, right? So Nelly, are there some points that you have on your list that you wanted to share?
No, I mean, there'll always be some points, but just thinking that we have run out of time by 10 minutes, I think we might carry it on to the next session or next time, because what we do is everything is interlinked. Everything is interlinked, which is why a lot of the times we say things that we have said it previously, but then it will be different because we look more into. So it's one of them things. So what I'll just say is, when you are connecting, connect with purpose. Connect with purpose. Don't just connect because you are under pressure. There should be an intention, and that intention needs to be something that will improve you or will grow you, rather than just comparing that I want to show off. It needs to be purposeful. So that's all I'll have to add, Peggy.
Okay. Yeah, so absolutely. So thank you everybody for joining. Anybody that was joining us or watching us, we appreciate you. We want to give a shout out to Zeze Immaculate. We want to give a shout out to Comfort Comfort for watching us. We want to give a shout out to Carrie Elias for watching. Thank you so much for watching us, and we hope that at least you learned something. We always say, even if it means just one idea or one thing that can help you move forward, it's all about moving forward. So, yes, we've said that we need to keep motivated, stay motivated as parents, as single parents. We need to make sure that we break down our tasks. We don't feel guilty. We look after ourselves. We kind of take one day at a time and all of that. So thank you so much for joining in and tuning in. We're going to see you again in 2 weeks' time with another topic. And if you want to be a part of us, if you want to be part of this panel that we can talk, like a three-way panel that we can talk, we will be grateful to have you on board. So thank you so much. And I hope that keep looking after yourself, keep staying motivated, keep being positive, and keep going. You are doing a fantastic job. You're doing well. So thank you so much. So Nelly, I'll pass Nelly for the final remarks before we go.
Yeah, so thank you. My thing keeps freezing again. So thank you so much for watching. Take one word from me. Always remind yourself that I am enough. It's an affirmation. I am enough. If you are in that state where you don't want to do anything, whatever is going on, just say, I am enough. If I want to stay in bed, I am enough. That's fine. Let me just stay in bed. But then you have things to do. I am enough. I'll get up and do what I need to do. So stay positive, like Peggy has said, because you are fabulous just the way you are. Don't compare yourself for whatever reason. Make you compare you to who you were yesterday and to who you are today, and keep moving forward. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful rest of your week, and hope to see you next in 2 weeks.
Yeah, hope to see you in 2 weeks. So take care.
So
We love
thank
you.
you from me and from Peggy.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.